So I'm going to move a little bit more across to the side. And so here's a little bit more to my right, because we're actually going to do this movement 3 times as we move across. Now let me start by just showing you how the movement goes, but kind of make sure you've got room for yourself to go 3 times, 3 side steps once we set up for this. So we're going to be doing a similar kind of thing of sinking and coming up for an energy ball. This is a little bit like where we were starting with the platter variation, right? It's kind of like you're bringing your hands up in front of the shoulder and feeling that energy ball in front of the right shoulder in this case, and then you step off with the left. And so you keep your feet turned out about the same. So this is a little bit like rocking motion, right? You're kind of stepping out, but the toes are staying at a similar kind of position, slightly outward turned. But this time, I'm just going to show you what the lower body part looks like first. You just switch legs or weight back and forth across your legs, like so, right? And what you'll see, I will show you from the side in a minute, but I just want you to get this from the front, is that you never take the weight off fully off one foot or the other. So there's no lifting that happens at all with this, except that of course your weight comes more fully onto this leg and you're much more lightly onto the foot of this leg. And as you come back and forth, there's a really important thing that I want you to get, and my buckle isn't as noticeable here with this, but this is, so I'll use my hands like just in front of my pelvis like this so you can see this a little bit more, is that as I turn, you can see how my pelvis is actually turning. So this kind of straightening out with the back leg actually provides a little bit of a push or a turn to your pelvis, so that instead of the focus being so much on the arching and flattening of the lower back, in this case, that is secondary. There's still a bit of that, but it's secondary to you going through a rotation with your pelvis, which was actually in the forward back movements. Like if I do this, you'll notice that there was just a little bit of a change in pelvic movement that's happening. So, but it's secondary to the arching and flattening. Whereas in this case, it's much more in the foreground. So this is a really important thing to kind of keep checking with yourself every once in a while to kind of get these pelvic movements to really help you get the sense of how you can drop into a more mobile lower body. Very gentle working on you. While you're doing that, you're going to step out to the left, but you notice that my hand comes up to the right side, and this is something we're going to run into lots with these sidestepping movements. You're getting ready to go to the left, so you start on the right. So it's kind of like your wind up. It's as if you're golfing, right? You're turning into this side because you're getting ready to go across to the opposite side. So your hand comes in front of the right shoulder. You can see that my back leg, well, you can't quite see it, but I'll turn sideways in a moment, is pretty straight. And my right leg is the full weight bearing, and it's just a little bit bent, as so often happens when we're going, for example, on a back leg. And then as you come across, there's very similar kind of thing with the bass drum and with the daughter in the valley, which is that your hands come across holding that ball, but your fingertips kind of are going downward toward the floor. And as you come across fully, or more fully, onto the left foot now, slightly bent, weight bearing more, like say 60-40 or 70-30, then you come up in front of the opposite shoulder, but you don't stop there. It's because this is so circular, you come right around. So you're really creating a circle. And you just go about as far as your circle. I'm not going to move for a second so that you can see this. I'll stay in the center. You're going to go about as far as your circle as you're just in front of the shoulder on one side and the other, so that the sideways apexes of the circle are probably going to be a little bit sideways of your body, but you can see that it's really creating a bit of a twist, more of a twist in my body. And so if I come sideways to you here, you can see that really, even with the twist, my hands don't go that much further out to the side of my body. It's just a very comfortable circle. It will self-describe itself. Don't get into trying to kind of get too intellectual with it. It will actually start to self-correct itself. And so it's just going back and forth like this. So let's just try that for a moment, all by itself. So sinking into your right foot, your hands come in front of the right shoulder, stepping out with your left foot, straight sideways, coming down and across, down and across. And this in itself, you could do 9 times. It's be just a lovely thing to just keep on going back and forth all by itself. And at the end of however many of these you were going to do, this is how it completes. You come more onto your left leg supporting. To come out of it, you do a similar kind of thing as you would with your front foot on a forward back motion. Watch my toe. It comes up. I flatten my lower back, and my foot comes in, and I come back to that resting position. So it's just kind of, I'm up here, toe comes up, flatten my lower back, my foot comes in, and as I do that, I come around and rest. So the movement, once again, is sinking into the right leg, in front of the right shoulder, left foot comes out. Now come across as if you're doing your golf stroke. 1, and we'll do this 3 times. 2, and 1 more time. 3, and your left toe, or sorry, your right toe comes up and comes in, and you close, like that. So that's the basics of the movement. You can see there's a little bit more to it. Now that we kind of got the rhythm of the forward and backward, the side stepping has got like this piece to it, and kind of like, oh, you know, you got to kind of look and see, am I stepping forward or back? Like, for example, sometimes I've very early on would look down and I go, oh my gosh, you've really stepped a little bit forward rather than sideways. So once again, it can be helpful to have something on a floor that you're patterned with, to just check yourself every once in a while to make sure that you're actually just going sideways, because we always have these slight twists in our pelvis that can make us step not exactly where we thought we were going. And then as I'm going back and forth, I've just got this little bit of movement happening rotationally in my pelvis. And you can see this leg is bent as my weight goes on it more at the knee. Now it straightens out a bit as I turn across to the other side. Now, the last thing I want you to get about this movement is that it actually comes in sections of 3. So what we've done, we do 3 times. So this is where I wanted you to get more room. So if you come a little bit more to your right, come to your resting position, let's try putting this together. So first of all, you're going to sink into your right foot, which means that's the side your hand is going to come into. That's the beginning of your wind up. You step out, you can see how my toe kind of comes up and I come down on my heel, and just not too far, you step out to the right. So it's not any different than if I was going to do the rocking motion and I stepped out. I'm about that distance apart. So stepping out, and then across we come. Back leg straightening a bit, feet staying fully on the ground with just a bit of weight transfer, second time through. Okay, and then here we come with the 3rd time, so we're going to bring that right toe up, and the foot's going to come in, and I've come up in front of that, that left shoulder. Now I come down, and for just the pause of a slight breath, like it's just the gentle, like a bird resting on a branch for a moment, and then starts again. So pause, then back up to the right shoulder, sinking in, and you start the 2nd of the series. So that's something else which will show up as a theme further on through this series, is every once in a while there's a movement that has these slight pauses. Here we come around for the 3rd time. Right toe comes up, you're in front of the left shoulder, in, down, Slightest pause, sinking again into that right foot. And one more time across. 1, 2, and so now we come across for the third one. As your hands come up on the left side, your right toe comes up and in. And now you pause just for a moment, and once again, now we're going to go the opposite direction. So this is where you're going to sink into your left foot, and therefore your hands come in front, you're winding up in front of that weight-bearing side, and your right foot comes out. Now you're going the opposite direction. Cross. And second time. And now we are lifting the left toe, and in it comes as your hand comes up. And you'll see that that motion of having the hands come up over the weight-bearing leg creates more space for that left foot to come up. And then slight rest, and here we go again. Over the left shoulder, right leg comes out. 1. Always that feeling as if you're moving through heavy air that just slows your pace a little bit more than you would expect. Just almost dreamlike. And then left toe comes up, and in, and one more time, sinking into the left foot and across. 1, 2, and the third time. And then this would be the end of the movement, so we just go back into that kind of gentle, graceful resting position like this.